Today I wanted to look at a couple Victorinox knives, ones that are a little bit thicker as far as layers go. Here we have the Victorinox Handyman, and this is the Victorinox Swiss Champ. The Swiss Champ is kind of like that flagship model, the one that has all the tools. They have introduced a couple other models that are even thicker than this, that have wrenches and bits for screwdrivers and that kind of stuff, a little bit more techie kind of tool, ones that have USB in there. But just as far as like a stainless steel, tool configuration here, these two are kind of like those ones that in the 91mm line that are getting kind of big. You see the Swiss Champ is a little bit thicker than this one, and this is kind of the points that I'd wanted to discuss today. Like, what do you really need? I mean, even this looks like overkill. This is pretty chunky to keep in the pocket. You probably want to use a sheath. Some people do carry it in their pockets. Maybe they wear pants with bigger pockets or baggier pants or whatever. But anyway, I mean, honestly, if I'm just carrying any given day, I'll go something smaller like a cadet and a manager, or like a compact and a little classic here. And I like mixing up the Alex and Celador that way. But let's just look at these. You don't really need to carry a supplementary knife when you're carrying one of these. I'm a big fan of the Handyman, and I'll tell you why. I'm always a big fan of the corkscrew as opposed to the Phillips screwdriver on the back layer. The corkscrew is great for carrying this little mini screwdriver, and of course opening wine, and then this can get into knots really well. It's good just to kind of pick things out. You can pick things up that are hot that way. I've used it that way a couple times, but I just prefer the corkscrew generally. So that makes me a fan of the Handyman, and it's got some great back layer tools. It's got this chisel that's actually pretty sharp. It's got another small screwdriver right here, then it's got your reamer punch. So I feel like usually if I encounter a Phillips screw, let me just get this closed here. The can opener, I haven't run into a Phillips screw yet where I'm like, oh man, I can't open it with this thing. So I mean, pretty standard sizes I'm usually working with, but this Phillips screwdriver on the end of this can opener, I think does the job. So I never feel like I need another Phillips. It's kind of cool, maybe if it's a tighter screw, a screw that is tightened a little bit more, you might run a risk of bending that end. So that's where this screwdriver really comes into play. And it's pretty much like a pretty good heavy duty screwdriver, just as good as like a dedicated screwdriver in my opinion for most tasks. But when you add that layer with the magnifying glass, it does add quite a bit of thickness. So the way I look at it, it's like, am I really going to need this on a daily basis? Probably not. I think it's a great tool. It's awesome. As far as Phillips screwdrivers on 91mm knives, I think this is a Cadillac. My eyesight is not that bad, and I don't find myself needing this thing too much. I have started a fire with it a couple times just to see if I could. You can on a sunny day if you have some good kindling and you're patient and get the right angle, you can start a fire with this thing. But am I going to use it on a daily basis? Probably not. The other tool that I'm probably not going to use on a daily basis with this one is the fish scaler. You can scale fish on it. I know you can use it for drawing, for measuring. It's cool. You can use it to spread peanut butter or something if you need to in a pinch. But I think overall, I don't really need it that much. And that's why I like the Handyman so much, because it just omits those two layers. It doesn't have the magnifying glass and Phillips screwdriver or the fish scaler. So it's basically a Swiss Champ with your opening layers minus that Phillips screwdriver and fish scaler and magnifying glass. It still does have your pliers, and it's got a wire cutter there at the bottom of those pliers, which is really cool. And these pliers, you know, I used to not favor them that much, but I think, you know, for the size that they are, they really do a good job. I live in the desert, so sometimes my dog will be a numbskull and get into a cactus, and he ends up with cactus barbs all in his hide. So, you know, those things are hard to take out. This is a great little tool just to get in there and yank that out. He doesn't like it, but hey, it's a useful tool, and I spare my fingers that way. The scissors, of course, wood saw, which is a great wood saw. Everybody, if you've ever used one of these Victorinox wood saws, you know it's a pretty darn good saw for the size and what you get for this little, you know, non-locking folding knife. And then a file. And this file, I think, is super useful. You can use it as a nail file. You can use it to cut through metal really slowly. I've tried that, you know, cutting through a metal pipe with this thing, and sure enough, it'll work, but it just takes some elbow grease and patience for sure. And then large blade and small blade. So I feel like the Handyman, you're well equipped with this. I feel like almost this is a little bit overkill for me. One thing I did want to mention in this video, I've had this Swiss Champ sitting in my car. It just lives there, and summer is upon us here in Arizona, and it's already gotten up to 115 degrees here in Phoenix. So I was a little bit concerned that my scales would start to warp or bend, but you know what? It's perfect. It's doing great. Even in that, it's probably, you know, 120, 130 degrees when it gets super hot inside my car. So, you know, it held up to it. This is, it does have this gray housing, so this one is a little bit older. It's probably 15 years old at least. But hey, it's holding up to that heat. I don't know if they've changed the formula for the cellar door for the newer ones. I kind of feel like they have, because it seems like the newer ones, when I drop them, they crack and break a little bit easier. But anyway, I thought that was noteworthy, that this thing does stand up to the heat inside my car in those Arizona summers. So anyway, conclusions, I think I prefer the Handyman over the Swiss Champ, generally speaking. If I just want to go out and, you know, have a knife on me that's going to cover most tasks. If I was going to go camping or something, and I was afraid maybe I'd be in a situation where I couldn't start a fire with this, I would want to bring this, so at least I had that to try to start a fire with. But come on, just pack a lighter in your bag and you'll be okay. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to all that. Remember to be kind to each other. Swiss Army Dan is out.